Hey guys, can you believe all of these videos that are coming out on my YouTube channel? I'm not even kidding. I'm doing these one day at a time and I am loving them. So this is another ICAD for you, 5 out of 5 so far, and I actually already have one a little further down the works that's done for our mixed media moods, so even better. I'm kind of one ahead or maybe par on course here. This is ICAD number 5, and it's a little bit sort of collage, mixed media, kind of Ray Missigman and Robin Marie inspired. And I love it. I'm loving the ICADs because the mini works of art really seem like they're up my alley. I do a lot of tags and like ATC sets or like trios, which are almost kind of index card sized anyways, and I love it. I love filling this miniature space, and it doesn't take a ton, but I still feel like it's still artwork. Like I'm not just kind of slapping things down. I'm still planning them out and having fun with it, but it's easier. It's coming easier to me. And I'm not saying that art should be easy, but I'm not stressing over the final outcome. So I'm really loving these. I have my ICAD. It's a 3-inch by 5-inch index card, and I have taken a piece of under paper that I had lying around. It had some really beautiful yellows and kind of pinky purples on it, and I cut it down to size to fit my index card. And I just used a Stabilo and traced that index card, and then I used some heavy matte gel to glue that onto my index card. So I trimmed it out kind of sloppily so that I could trim it down to actual size once I had it glued down. I used some gel medium. I covered the entire card. I put down the under paper right side up, and then I used a brayer to flatten it out. I know that I'm going to add water to this. I already know that. That's just what I do. I know for a fact that that is one of my like have to be done steps in my artwork. So I really wanted there to be a fabulous connection between the top layer of underpaper and the bottom layer of index card. So I used a brayer and really kind of made sure all of the surfaces were touching. And then I did let that dry a little bit. Give it a quick heat. I don't always heat on camera because it takes a lot of time and people kind of don't want to see you heating things forever. But I did do that. And then I used a Stabilo Marksol to go around the edge of the index card. And a Stabilo Marksol, I get this question a lot. It's a very unique pencil. It's a grease pencil that really is utilized in like architecture and product development and things like that, because you can mark on ceramics, on glass, on wood, on metal, on paper. You can mark on any of those, and as long as the surface is non-porous, then you can just wipe it right off. If it's porous, then it will stain, but then you just get this really cool grungy effect that a lot of mixed media artists have been using in their art. So they're utilizing this pencil to create really cool, grungy, distressed marks, and it is wonderful. It's a Stabilo Marksol, and it's water soluble. And it says aquarelle on it. It has a little paintbrush, and it has green stripes at the end. So that's how you know you're getting the right pencil, because the Stabilo makes other things: pens, pencils, charcoal pencils. They have a wide variety of products, like a lot of fine arts companies. Okay, so keep that in mind. Stabilo Marksol. And then, oh yeah, so I have a little scrap of a jelly print right here. I've mentioned this before. I love to jelly print. If I'm having a creative block, or I just need to do some art and I want to sit in front of the TV, or I don't have something specific, or maybe, like I said, maybe I have a block, I just jelly print. I get out my Jelly Arts jelly printing plate. I get out my Dina Wakley Media paints by Ranger Ink, and I get out my Amsterdam paints, my mark makers, and my brayer, and I just have fun. Stencils, stamps, whatever, like all my favorite things, and I jelly print. So then I have a huge drawer full of jelly prints, all kinds of textures and colors and color combos, and I can pull from that when I need to. So it's kind of like under paper, but I work on a heavier cardstock, and then I just always have these like great resources to pull from. And I find that helps my artwork as much as any other tool, because then I don't have to take a half an hour or an hour out of this ICAD, and this did not take me an hour, but I don't have to take an extra hour and make a jelly print because then I just go find one. So I cut some scallops out of this jelly print scrap, and I love it. The teal was a contrast to kind of like this yellow pink overlap orange that I had going in the underpaper, and then the pink and purple was in the same color family as that pink that I already had on my underpaper. So I did pick them specifically, and I cut the teal scallops larger so that they kind of created almost like a divide between the two sets of pink. And I just glued those on the edge with a Yoo-hoo stick. I did Stabilo again because I felt like the card now was a little bit washed out compared to the really intense colors for my jelly printing that I had on the left. So by doing the Stabilo a second time, it really darkened up the edge of that card and made it very fun. Now I've got out this white Sharpie paint pen. It's the water-based one. And this pen seriously is the coolest thing ever. I love it. It is so intense and so dark. And not dark, but opaque. It's opaque. I can't see any of the paint through it. It's a beautiful white color on top of my jelly prints, and I really love it. So I totally recommend this paint pen. Dina Wakely, I picked it up because she suggested it in her Ordered Chaos class, and it is insane in the membrane. I love it. I just ordered about 10 of them so that I'll always have them on stock and I can share them with my art journalers. So, yes, get one of these. Get 2 of these. They are fabulous. There will be a link in the description box below if you need it. So, check it out. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, yes. I did start to use the Sharpie on the Stabilo edge to create a cute little border, and you probably saw me stop there real quick because the Stabilo section was still a little wet. So when I applied this water-based paint pen to that wet surface, it started to spread out, which is not what I wanted. It is a great technique, but it's not the one I wanted to use for this. So then I paused the video. I made sure my index card was really, really dry, and then I came back and redrew my border. And I just drew some kind of like fun little swirlies and put in a few little dots, and I just made a whimsical kind of fun border all the way around. It does stop where my scallops start. I just did. That's how I liked it. It seemed to really work that way. And I didn't want to overlap the doodling I had already done on the scallops. So I have recently coined the term gesso is the great equalizer because, oh, I'm so sorry. That's my dog. All right. Maybe he'll quiet down. Okay, so I have recently termed the phrase, or coined the phrase, that gesso is the great equalizer because it really is for me. But in this card, I actually didn't use any gesso. There was a little bit of gesso on the underpaper already, and then I did just put some gesso on my underpaper and add a little bit of water for some sort of white splatter. And the whole point of that was to bring back in a tiny bit of white space and kind of marry the whole thing together. So I didn't scrape the gesso like I normally would, but I did splatter a little bit in some small areas. I now have a plastic cup. I use these cups all the stinking time. And here, I love them because they're plastic. So I talked a lot about the Stabilo Marxall before. In this case, I scribbled the Stabilo Marxall down on the bottom of the cup, and I added a little bit of water because it's water reactive. And I'm using it to add in these really tiny little dot patterns on my card. It's really cool because they're mimicking the white ones that I made on the teal scallop, but they're darker and shadowier. And because it's the Stabilo Marxall, when I first touch the brush to the paper, then it's darker, then it's dark. And then the second dot that I make without going back to the cup, so I'm still just using from the first time I dipped into the cup, it's a little bit lighter. And then the third time, a little bit lighter. And then the fourth time, a little bit lighter. So it's like, it's very similar to second generation, or to, excuse me, to second generation stamping. Is that the term? I think that's the term. Anyways, so every time I touch the paintbrush to the paper without going back to the cup, then I get a lighter dot. And it's a really cool technique and just effect in general. Plus, it's a wet Stabilo going down on untreated underpaper. Remember when I put the paper down on the index card, I only put glue between the papers. I didn't collage the underpaper down. So the top part of the underpaper is still just raw paper unless there's paint there. So when I add that Stabilo with the paintbrush to the card, then it sort of bleeds out a little bit too. So then I have even less control over the outcome, which is really great for me because I just get this insane, like, foggy kind of distressed effect, and I really love it. And you can totally check that out in the zoomed up images that were at the beginning of the video. They'll be at the end of the video again, or you can pop over to my blog and you can expand those high-res photos and check out everything that's happening on these cards, because there's a lot of really good, subtle detail, and the layers are just utterly delicious. So do that. Now I have gotten out I use a Tandy leather stitching needle when I do hand stitching because it's chunky and it creates like bigger holes, and it's just like more fun to me. It's a bit more distressed and I really like that. And then I have this really thick DMC floss, and I think a lot of people, it's an embroidery floss, but I think a lot of people do hand stitch with it because it's so handy. It comes in a ton of colors. It's really affordable. I mean, you spend like less than 50 cents on, you know, a little skein of it, and it comes in all these beautiful colors. So I have this sort of, it's a light teal color, and it's not as intense as the scallops that I have on the left, but it's a really great complement. So it's in the same color family. It's a little darker, a little grungier, and it's really fun. So I'm just using that thread now and my Tandy needle to stitch in some sort of wonky stitches, and they're not specific at all. I'm just in one place I do one, then I do a row of two, then 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 1 2, and I'm not lining them up. I'm sort of just kind of stitching the whole thing and making it kind of crazy and wonky and cool. And it's just one more technique for adding texture. I love texture and fibers and layers in my paper and my paint, and it's really, I guess, why I stick to the term mixed media, which, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't know that all of my projects end up quite mixed media because maybe sometimes I'm just painting and drawing or whatever, but and as an artist and in the industry, there's a lot of competition and sometimes some unrest if you're not using the right terms, and that can be a little daunting, but I gotta go with it. I love the term mixed media, and I really do love it all, so I'm gonna stick with it. Sometimes it's not as mixed media as other times, but it is what it is. And this card certainly is mixed media. We've got paper and paints and Stabilo, and you know, we have adding in some stitching, and then here you'll see I added a little bit of tape, some masking tape to the top, and then now I'm going to stitch on a little fabric tab. It's actually 3 layers of muslin, different size muslin strips that I just stitched on in a square and an X, and then I used some staples to secure my tape down because I didn't collage it, so I don't want it to go anywhere. And that's it for this card. So ICAD number 5 in the bag. I'll see you back for ICAD number 6. Check out what the other, I think they're calling themselves cadets, are doing, because there are some really great ICADs out there. Lots of techniques and tutorials and just fun, just artsy fun. Check out my art sister, Jen Ingle. I know she's doing really great ICADs. And subscribe, please. Welcome to my channel. I'll see you around, and I got lots of videos coming up. Thanks for stopping by.